Hey, what's happening? It's Wes Johnson with thepeoplehelper.com, and I'm here to talk to you about the glycemic index. Now, the glycemic index is basically a measuring rod that indicates how your food affects your bloodstream. It was initially created to help those who are diabetic, to help them to understand what foods they should avoid. But the truth of the matter is, I think the glycemic index is something that all of us should pay a little more attention to. Now, the way it works is your food is given certain numbers. Numbers that are 70 and above are considered high on the glycemic index. Foods that are given the numbers of 55 and below are considered low on the glycemic index. Now, you want to include in your diet the foods that are low on the index. Foods like fruit and veggies, whole grains, and the foods that you want to avoid are the high foods on the glycemic index. You know, foods like certain breads, sugars, and processed foods. So basically what happens is, when your food is processed, it converts into glucose or blood sugar, which is then used for energy. And your body also creates insulin. It's the job of insulin to process the glucose that's not used for energy, and it passes it through your bloodstream. So what happens is, when you eat those foods that are high on the glycemic index, your blood sugar becomes too much for your insulin to handle, and it's unable to do its job properly. Now, there are a few things that happen as a result. The first thing is, you don't have that constant source of energy that your food should give you. Then you become tired, sluggish, get the itis, whatever it is you want to call it. Then the other thing that happens is, you don't have that feeling of being full all the time. And this explains why you can eat that Big Mac and fries, the next thing you know, you're hungry all over again, you get something else to eat. Now, the other thing is, what happens is, your insulin is overpowered, doesn't distribute the blood sugar properly, and when that happens, the excess blood sugar is then stored in your body as fat. Now, all of these things are basically a recipe to help you to gain weight, which I know many of us are trying to avoid. So you always want to avoid those foods that are high on the glycemic index. Now, if you don't know where your food falls in line on the glycemic index, there is an online database that I'll point you to. You can find it at glycemicindex.com. Basically, just plug your food in, see where it falls in line, make the changes where it's necessary, and hopefully that'll help you. Hope and pray that this tip helps you out a little bit. Now, until the next time, I'm Wes Johnson, and remember, change motivates change.